Well, hi everyone. I know some of you already, and welcome to the McKinney Classic Film Festival. We're so thrilled you're here, and this is our second season. We're here this year with screwball comedies featuring Cary Grant, and so today is our second day, and we're just thrilled at the response that we're getting. Last year we started with courtroom films, and we had Mary Badham here as our special guest. So we're especially thrilled to have Bobby Wygant here as our special guest tonight for his Girl Friday. So, Bert, did you have something you wanted to add to all that?
No, welcome. It's we're already doing better than we did last year, attendance-wise. So I am encouraged. We're seeing the numbers go up, and that's kind of the name of the game for us. So we are looking forward to the rest of this season and getting going with next season. We've already had some discussions about that.
Absolutely, and our mission is to promote and share great classic film, and we're hoping that people will come and see these films and bring their families and pass on the information. And we're also trying to bring in more speakers to pass on information about the films. So that's a component too, and so we're trying to build on that.
Yeah, we've gotten our 501c3 designation this year, so we now are tax exempt, and part of our mission, I think, is to provide an educational component, which we're really lucky this year. We have Bruce Calvert doing his PowerPoint presentations on all the films. We have a documentary that we will be showing next year about the history of movie theaters in McKinney, dating from 1908 was the first one that came in here. So that's kind of in the process of being edited right now, and that should be ready to show next year. And as Dena said, we do have a pretty strong commitment to passing the torch on these. I went to AFI to get my MFA, and out of my class, no one knew who Melvin Douglas was except me. And I know, okay, so this is the next generation of storytellers, and I personally feel an obligation to sort of pass it forward. So that's really why we're involved with doing this, is a large reason, anyway.
Exactly. So is there, go ahead.
With that increased attendance already so far, have you seen a tilt towards younger audience members? Because maybe that getting the...
I would say this afternoon, yes, not last night. I don't think we had anybody under 30 last night. Yeah. But this afternoon, we have close to 50 in there, and that's really good for our second season. And I would say a third, maybe, are probably in their 20s or younger. So it's not just middle-aged folks now, and that's pretty encouraging.
It's very encouraging, and we're especially thrilled, especially that the local community is beginning to discover more and more about us, and we're hoping. I mean, we even have people here from as far away as Colorado, and Christy came in from Houston. Thank you. And so, as we find out who is interested in these films, and we're able to expand our reach, we're hoping also to expand the age range of the people who are exposed to what we have to offer.
Are you looking to do year-round stuff, like year-round screenings and educational offerings?
We'd love to do that eventually. We're not there. I mean, this is just our second year, so we're growing, but we'll see what opportunities open up.
we may be able to do one thing, I think, maybe before next year. I think that would be a good step forward for us if we can pull off one thing, I think, because it's a lot of it's about baby steps.
What made you pick Cary Grant movies and screwball comedies after courtroom dramas?
Well, we wanted to do something light this year, and so screwball comedies came to mind, and of course, we also wanted to do things that we love. So we loved the screwball comedies, and there were so many screwball comedies that featured Cary Grant that we said, well, why don't we just make this a Cary Grant festival?
It started the titles we were kicking around. half of them were Cary Grant movies anyway, so why don't we just do Cary Grant?
So, and he's a master of screwball comedies, so it was a natural progression.
Well, there's some you decided to book because they weren't shown as much as like Being a Baby.
Well, certainly, and today, or excuse me, tomorrow we'll be showing Holiday.
Right.
So, and that's, of the 5, I think that's my favorite. And so many people don't know it, and I find it so endearing and so charming, and it has so many levels to it. So I think it's still very socially relevant, too. And it's romantic.
I think I haven't really discussed it, but we seem to sort of tend toward, it's the balance between what's commercial and what's,
Sure.
a little more esoteric. So, I think Holiday's kind of our sleeper one this year, and, I think probably next year with what we're talking about, we'll probably have 4 really kind of blockbusters, and 1 maybe, that is not as well known.
There's so many, so
Yeah,
Yes, that's right, that's right.
Pick 'em, yeah.
reel them in with the ones they know, then teach them about a new one.
Absolutely.
So, I'm actually the youngest here and probably one of the young age group that you plan on targeting. So my question is, what in your opinion do you think, like young, either in their 10s or their 20s, would get into films that they might not have heard of back in the old days?
Sure. Well, I was talking about Holiday. And this is something that I think could appeal very much to a younger audience, because it's about a young man talking about not wanting to work all the time, but to take time while he's young to go on a holiday. And so, I'm very interested in the tiny house movement. Well, this kind of speaks to that generation too. And you've got Cary, you've got a movie that's, 70 years old that still has a, hey, let's be young and go off on adventure spirit to it. And that carries forward for all time. Does that answer?
No, that answers. That's
Great,
fine.
great.
Do you find that it's hard to convince people to watch black and white film?
I think people don't understand how much richness there is there, and then once you say, hey, sit down and watch this for a minute, and you'll see. I had a friend bring her granddaughter, stay, and that friend's right here, by the way. And she brought her granddaughter to stay for a few days, and she was 13, I think, at the time, and we showed My Man Godfrey. I said, just sit down and see what you think, and she loved it. And so I thought, yes, this is the way to go.
Yeah, I was kibitzing in the audience last night, listening to some of the comments, and we showed Arsenic and Old Lace last night, which has the cinematography is interesting in Arsenic and Old Lace. It's not your run of the mill kind of Hollywood lighting. It's it's a little more rich and it's a little more creative lighting, and people were going, wow, that was really good. It was for black and white. You could see shadows and and people got into it. So, if we can actually accomplish that once in a while for an audience, then I think we're doing our job.
Is that something y'all think y'all will expand when you get the educational component in, like the history of film and what it took to make those films? Because I know there's, the biggest one is the dress in, I'm going to forget, it's not Gone with the Wind, it's the other one. Anybody? Betty Davis?
Jezebel? Jezebel?
Yes.
Okay.
Her red dress that she
Yeah, the
wears,
red dress in
what they
Jezebel.
had to do to make that
Yeah.
shot so where you could feel like the impact of
Yeah.
the color of her dress in that
Oh,
scene in
sure.
black and white. And so there's all that history to it. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think that's something you want to help educate people on?
I could talk about that stuff forever.
Yeah,
So it would be, it sounds great to me. The challenge is you want to make it light enough so that it holds people's interest, and you don't want to get too in depth or make it too long or make it seem like a college course. So it's the challenge is finding the right length and finding the right level of depth for what you're doing. And everybody likes the gossipy stuff, so of course, what was Cary Grant and Randolph Scott's real relationship? That's what people want to talk about. So you got to find a way sort of to sneak the educational stuff in while you're making it entertaining for your audience.
But we had, Bart Weiss was here last evening, talking before Arsenic and Old Lace, talking about what is screwball comedy. And he talked about lots of the different components of screwball comedy. And, my friend said to me afterward, I didn't know any of that. That was so interesting to me. And I think it does give you some insight into what you're watching. And that's also what we wanna
we're
do.
screening My Favorite Wife, right now, and if you know the script, it's the Odyssey, sort of turned sideways. It's Odysseus returns, and Odysseus is Irene Dunn, and Penelope is Cary Grant, and the dog who recognizes her is Argus. It's go to the classics.
there.
When
It's
in
all
doubt, stick to classical structure.
Or Enoch Arden.
Yeah, or Enoch Arden. Yeah, exactly.
Now, what are your thoughts on certain filmmakers actually bringing that old style of filming back? There are some recent indie films that have come out that reintroduce the black and white style. One I saw earlier this year was actually also foreign. Name's not on me right now, but it was a really good film. But
Jim Jarmusch does a lot in black and white. Who's
Yeah.
a name, sort of,
yeah.
just a little, not quite so indie anymore, but it's where he started anyway.
But do you think that people can revive that old formula?
It's all, to me, maybe I'm cynical, it's always been a function of economics. It's even in the studio days, even when Technicolor came around, it was expensive, and they're not going to devote the money to every film to make in color. So they give the director and the producer a budget and say, you're going to make the movie for this, figure it out. And that's what, I make movies, it's no different today. I get X number of dollars and I got to figure it out. And sometimes shooting black and white is the only way you get it made. So I don't think a lot of people have the luxury to sort of make that as an artistic choice. I mean, Woody Allen maybe, Scorsese can certainly do it, but I don't think for most people, I think it's a function of economics rather than creativity.